why you're calling today. So tell me, in a few words, what's the reason for your call?
I'd like to know about the tubes.
There's lots of things we can help you with, so I'd like to know what you're calling about. You can say things like, to claim a tax refund, I received a penalty notice, or even, I've just had a baby. So go ahead, in a few words, what's the reason for your call?
I'd like to know about the babies.
Sorry, you can say things like, I need confirmation of my national insurance number, to register as self-employed, or even, I need to find out about a gap in qualifying years. So go ahead, tell me, what's the reason for your call?
Tell me about the tubes and the babies.
Please say one of the following: self-employment, national insurance numbers, overseas certificates, employer's PAYE, or something else.
Put me through to Tom Beef.
Sorry, for self-employment, press 1. For national insurance numbers, 2. For overseas certificates, 3. For employer's PAYE, press 4. Or for anything else, press 5.
PAYE.
Our website has a whole section dedicated to helping employers with PAYE and national insurance. Go to gov.uk/PAYE. Our offices are closed just now, but you can look online for more help and information at hmrc.gov.uk/employers. Or you...
I need to talk about the babies.
Welcome to HMRC Customs. Did you know you can renew your tax credit without calling us? If you've received your renewal pack, it could be quicker and more convenient for you to renew and report changes online at gov.uk/renew tax credit. Again, that's gov.uk/renew tax credit. You can do it at any time on any device, including your smartphone.
Can you please pick up the phone?
You can check your eligibility and request a claim pack online at gov.uk and search for claim tax credits. Please note, because of a regional bank holiday, payments due on Monday or Tuesday may be paid early.
To direct your call to the right place, I'd like to know why you're calling today.
I want to know
In a few
about the tubes and the babies.
There's lots of things we can help you with, so I'd like to know what you're calling about. You can say things like, to claim a tax refund, I received a penalty notice, or even, I've just had a baby.
I've just had a baby.
What's the reason for your call?
I've just had a baby.
About statutory sick pay, is that right? Yes or no?
No.
Sorry, about statutory sick pay, is that right? Yes or no?
No.
Sorry, about statutory sick pay, yes or press 1, no or press 2.
No.
You can say things like, I receive a tax credit, I forgot my job, or even, it's a change in job status. About a claim, is that right? Yes or no? One of our advisors will be with you as soon as possible.
Tell me about the babies. put me through to P-I-Y-A-B-C-D. Hello, is there anybody listening there in the void, in the spaces up and down like a brown pool of matter, spreading ominously in the pants and embarrassing the pupils, spinning around in the loops of plastic gristle that choked her in the restaurant overlooking the old quarry where they used to swim naked? Hello, why don't you answer? It's like sticking my head in a bucket and listening to the sand that tastes like sugar and asbestos, sticking to the teeth and matting the white hair attached to the head, like a hanky flapping in the vacuum, endless like the cars in the morning and the relentless hooters constantly going off and scaring the wits up and down the ladder, disturbing one's perceptions of the grey pipes fitted together rashly in some cack-handed way by a monkey who shifts up and down the ladders as if lubricated. Are you actually floating in the pipes that don't seem to fit and leak strange gunk and seep like gravy on itchy hands that were bitten by the insects in the caravan with bad reception and distorted spuds, hastily borrowed from the man who wraps his torso in the net curtains, showing glimpses of red flash like a pig all wrapped up and leaking old oil? Why don't you pick up the pig and speak? Why don't you pick up and squeal endlessly when I attach the hot metal to your skin and press play, playing with my mind and looping relentlessly up and around a small box roughly the size of a body, an eviscerated pink body suspended from a hook in the shop like an animal smelling of sawdust and standing in the Wellington boots at the bottom of the ladder, pushing the hands into the gutter, shoveling out the brown stuff stuck in the pieces of grey, somehow assembled by he who steals the hands of the useless scarecrow. She always used to say that it was like giving a monkey a gun, staggering around the colonies, pissed up on Malibu. Yes, staggering aimlessly with a gun, pissed up and firing randomly in the sand, with one of those funny hats on that the Egyptians wore in the old ruins, high above the gardens where he watches and waits while swinging the old bucket, splashing the lanes with the brown stuff that leaks from faulty plumbing and smells like iron from up and down the country, where they used to dump things in the night under the floodlights, believing everybody else to be quite stupid and pointless, like this here, like this act that appears to go on over and over and over again, endlessly over and over again to infinity. Whatever that means. Whatever the fuck that means. Oh dear God, dear God, oh dear God, dear God, dear God. Here and there, somehow suspended in the air, dangling from the ladder promptly erected in order to inspect the pipes. The magpie cackles as she pokes a dog with a bamboo stick, poking the dog with a bamboo stick. Turning up late again, drunk and full of meandering stories about the dog and the gunk and the girl with the wet hair, cigarette balanced on the side, hands like trotters and a big arse and loose jeans strapped around the bulge, fiddling about and sweating and oozing all over the brass, fumbling, fumble, 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 fiddle, fumble, checking every door in the house without knocking and whispering about the Irish, with whiskey in my ear, spitting in my ear, regardless of breath that clings to this dirty tool, shoved up close to the mouth like a strange sausage roll to be sucked on, yes, to suck on over and over like a bad dream, like a pain in the arse, like a prayer to God, waiting here again with the figures that don't balance, like the tubes, yes, the tubes, messy, box, messy in the box, up the fucking ladder he goes again, the dreaded monkey again, climbing up again, up and down with filthy hands, to the sound of an old air raid siren, somewhere by the Tyne, somewhere by the Mersey, its filthy sound, like your voice in the air, yes, your voice, that bubbles endlessly in the hot air, and bounces like a balloon across the road, where you discovered the dead bird, the poor dead bird, with its twisted beak and feathers, lying there in the road for your inspection, in the dust, counting the dust like sand, like Sisyphus, and the rocks, beautiful rocks, that sizzle in the night by your side, mosquitoes drilling your fucking ear, you tumble and you hear, churning something on the surface wall, how close to your face, the cigarette next to the skin on your face. Anybody there? Is there somebody there? Bleached white by the gastric juices, sitting in the dark enlightened and examining the species in detail. Three-dimensional jigsaw absence found. Information failure, struggling with emptiness. Boiled down bones and feeling the desire to strand. Yes, the desire to strand. The desire to strand. Taking out the eyes and lifting out the optic nerves, thick and muscular, adept yet susceptible, contaminated by plastic. My head is shaped like a basketball. My head is shaped like a basketball. My hands are guided by recreational drug use. Holding the receiver, looking in the mirror, a stupid white body naked with tattoos. Baldy and silly, framed in gloss like a sweaty sausage, with strange eyes that seem to know and trust your stupidity and your arrogance, waiting for the voice to intervene. Obeying the thunder and the rain, sat in the caravan with the rabbits and the love spoons, sifting the distortion and shifting tiles from square to square, draining the brown bottle again, waiting to hear your voice, yes, your voice that instructs me. Please instruct me with your tongue, with your teeth, with your lips. Please wash the brown from my hands with tissue that sticks and clumps in red dots, driving me mad, driving me up the pole, driving me round the bend, the filthy bends that leak and seep brown water from and onto the plastic, endlessly like torture, like the dogs in the afternoon who refuse to stop barking. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody out there? Is there any humans